Good morning, students. Now, today we are going to learn about the second chapter of microeconomics, central problems of an economy. In this chapter, we are going to learn what is economic problem, central problems of an economy, like what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce. After this, we will be learning about solution of central problems. Now, af- after this, the PPC curve. This part has been removed for this year in the syllabus. The CBSE has cut this part. Now, in this, we are going to learn about the last topic, opportunity cost. So I will be making a separate video for opportunity cost and marginal opportunity cost. So in this video, we'll be looking only at what is economic problem and central problems of an economy. So let us start. What is an economic problem? Wants of human beings are unlimited, but the means of satisfying these wants are scarce. It is possible for an economy to produce everything for each individual. Because no economy possesses unlimited resources, it becomes necessary for every economy, therefore, to make a choice regarding the efficient use of the available resources of economy like land, labor, capital. Now, these land, labor, capital are the resources which a country can use to maximize the social welfare at the level of the country and also at individual level the satisfaction of the consumers and producers. Now, for example, the economy has to decide how much of the resources are to be used for the development of the industries and how much of the development of agriculture. The problem concerning the allocation of the resources to different users is called as economic problem or the problem of choice. So here the first thing, what is economic problem, is a problem of choice. Thus by the economic problem we mean problem of choice or the problem of economic use of scarce resources. So what is scarce resources? Let us move on again here. The land, labor, capital and entrepreneur. So these resources are limited in nature. Like we have land which is limited. Let us talk about land. Suppose this is a piece of land. Now you can make choices. Economic problem is what? This land is limited. There is limited land, limited lands use here. So what you can do here, like you can use this land for making hospital, or you can make use of this land for making education institutions, colleges, or you can use this for making houses or some other purpose. So it can be used for agriculture, making houses, or you can make factories on it. So after that, if you are making, suppose you are making factory on this, then you cannot do agriculture, you cannot open an institute, education institute or college. So you will have to sacrifice, means this land, this part of land will be gone. You cannot longer use this for some other purposes. So this is a limited resources. Okay, so that's why everything you cannot get in a country, because every country is not rich in resources. Like we will talk about India. In India there is uh, not rich resources of petrol, so we are importing from other countries, other countries like Iran, Kuwait. So we are buying from them. Why we are buying? Because we don't produce it here too much quantity. Okay, we also produce, but it is not in uh, too much quantity, because in India the demand is very high for such kind of goods. Now the definition says economic problem means the problem of choices. So here you will have to make the choice, just like we have seen here. In case of land, you can go for other different choices, and you will have to decide what will be the best. In this way you can use the resources of the country. Like you can use coal for making electricity, you can coal use for making iron, and because iron is also very important factor, and it is used for making big machinery which are good for industries. So industrial growth depends on iron only, but coal is having multiple purposes again. You can make so many goods and so many process, even for cooking purposes we use coal. So you will have to decide that what will be the best for an economy, because you will have to think about the welfare at the country level as well as at the individual level, like individual profit of a firm. Like in the previous video we were talking about microeconomics, so we were learning about the individual profit of the firm, how to maximize their satisfaction, how the producers are going to maximize their satisfaction. And when they'll be satisfied, they'll be satisfied only when they'll be earning more profits. So how to do that? Because they are also having limited resources. At the country level also, there's limited land, peoples, which is nothing but labor, capital, which you can take as loan for different purposes. Say for example for marriage, for education loan, for making or setting up industries. So that money is also limited. So we must understand that we'll have to make choices, and that is economic problem we are having, because resources are scarce. You just have to remember this thing. Why making choices? Because the resources are scarce and they are having multiple uses. Now the question arrives here, what causes economic problem? So first is unlimited wants. Why this problem is there? Unlimited wants. First case, because human wants are unlimited. We want so many things. No man can satisfy all his wants fully. Wants of the members of the society cannot be fully satisfied at the given time. So every member cannot be satisfied at a given time. As a matter of the fact, wants of the man have been increasing day by day. It's true that every time our demands are increasing day by day. A few years back, there was hardly any demand for laptops, but today almost every household is keen to get one. With the passage of the time, there is every likelihood of an enormous increase in the demand of computers, mobile phone, costly cars. We can therefore safely say that in every society at any given time, there are innumerable satisfied wants. So there are so many choices, but we cannot use for everything. So there will be some unsatisfied wants, like maybe people are requiring something, but some goods are made in a less quantity, not in a too much quantity. Like everybody want luxury cars, like a Ford, Ferrari, or something like that, which is costly, a sports car. So in that case, everybody cannot get that, because at individual level, everybody is not earning a lot of money. So that is not possible. Resources with a single person is limited again. So that's why everybody cannot be satisfied. Now, second point, that limited or scarce means, as we discussed, that the resources are limited in nature. So most of the goods and services satisfying human wants are limited or scarce. These goods are called scarce because their demand is greater than the supply, no matter what is the price. So here, what is trying to say, that the resources are limited in nature. Say for example, petrol. So it is limited, but the demand for the petrol is very high. So scarcity is the situation in which there is not enough resources to meet all the human wants. So it is not possible that with that limited resources you can do so many things. So by using petrol so much, because in transportation it is a must, but at the same point of time we also need to go to offices, and we are using our vehicles, we are using petrol in it. So that's why demand is very high. But instead, what should be the priority first? The priority should go to transportation, because it leads to industrial growth in a country. So the second point, limited scarce, which means our resources are limited and we must use them rationally. The third is alternative uses. Now, another case of economic problem is the limited resources have alternative uses. For example, milk is a scarce commodity. It can be used for preparing cheese, ice cream, rasgulla, etc. Since resources are limited, all wants cannot be satisfied. It leads to the problem of choice. Which want should be satisfied and which should not be? So here again they are talking about resources such as milk. Now milk, you make so many products like butter, milk, cheese. So all these products are made up of milk. So you need to use it carefully, and you will have to give priority to the different choices. Like, why do you want to use milk? You want to make ice cream, so ice cream should be a priority, or rasgulla should be a priority, or for tea it should be a priority. You'll have to decide about it, what should be the best use for it. And that's how we are going to put the things into use, all these resources. Now, accordingly, the society has to decide which wants are to be satisfied first and which is later. As I said, you'll have to give them rank, like rank first, rank second, and rank third, like priority. What is the first priority for you? Maybe the first priority would be using milk for, maybe for infants, for babies. So that should be the first priority. Or maybe for making tea should be the first priority in India, because there are a lot of tea consumers. After that, ice cream. Ice cream is just a kind of thing which mostly people use or eat in the summer season, not in winters. Yeah, some people prefer in winter season also, but it is not the case here. The most of the people want it in summer, so it is just a kind of enjoyment. So we can leave enjoyment, and we can use this milk to feed the infants. That will be much better choice. After that, central problems of an economy. Now central problems economy says what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce. Let us see them one by one. What to produce? The problem, what to produce. Now, what to produce and how much to produce. It is having two dimensions. The first and the foremost problem of every economy is what goods and services should be produced so as to satisfy the maximum wants of the people. This problem arises due to the fact that means are scarce in relation to the wants. Each country has therefore to make a choice as to which it wants it should satisfy and which ones it should forego. Now, let us read further also these points. Firstly, an economy has to decide what goods and services are to be produced. For example, consumer goods like sugar, clothes, wheat, ghee are to be produced, and which of the capital goods like machine, tractor are to be produced. Similarly, choices has to be made between the production of the goods like at war times, like rifles, guns, tank, peacetime goods like bread, butter, etc. Now here again we'll have to think like what we should produce. We are having resources, but this is a problem. What to produce? We can make consumer goods because people are consumers of clothes, wheat, ghee. They want these things, so we should be making this. It will lead to the welfare. Now, at the same time, you can use these resources just like for capital goods. You can use iron for making machinery. By that iron, you can make machinery for the industries also, or you can make car or motorcycle for your benefits, for your leisure purpose, so that you can enjoy the bike. So it depends like what should be the priority. Maybe priority must be given to the industrial goods because by doing production it really burst up the growth of industrialization in the country. Making other goods like motorcycles or some other goods are maybe not a good option because it will not lead to the income generations. So same way, war goods, if we talk about war goods like defense goods like tanks, wartime goods. So tanks are also good because it creates peace in the country. Peace in the country is also very important. That's why we make defense goods like tank, so that if any country attacks on us, so we can fight against them. So this is also important. This doesn't give the direct welfare for the country, but it is an indirect welfare because for doing business, all these economic activities in the country, we need to have peace in the country. Then only we can move forward with all our goals. Now here, the second point, when an economy has taken a decision as to what goods services are to be produced, then it has to decide about its quantity, how much of consumer goods and how much of capital goods are to be produced. For instance, if an economy decides to produce more of a cloth and wheat within a given period of time with limited means, then it will have to produce less of machines. Now if consumer goods will be prepared, consumer goods, then in this case definitely the people's welfare will be there. They'll be having so many goods and at very good prices, so we can use our resources like that, or we can use it to make capital goods which can be used by the firms to produce further goods. So we'll have to decide about this whether we should make a consumer good because it is also needed, like maybe a fan which is required, it is made up of metal, and same way the goods which are used like capital goods or machinery in the industry, it is also made up of metal. So we can use both the things. Like we'll have to decide here whether we should make for consumer or capital. But by looking at the country's economy, we'll have to decide what we should produce. If there are a lot of people who are not having any kind of resources with them, then we should be making consumer goods so that we can provide them at a very cheaper rate. At the same point of time, the capital goods can be made if there is a problem of unemployment in the country. By making capital goods, the industry can use those in their factories, and they can create or generate employment for the people. So by looking at the economy, we'll have to decide like what we should produce. Second problem is how to produce. What is the way how to produce? There are two techniques like labor intensive, capital intensive. We are going to discuss it one by one. The second main problem of the economy is how to produce the goods or how to organize production. This problem is concerned with the choices of technique of production. So what this how to produce this related to the technique. For example, production of the clothes is possible either by handlooms or modern machinery. This problem is concerned with the efficient use of resources. It implies more production at less cost. Broadly, these are of two techniques. So here they are telling about the technique of production. One technique is that you can use the mans, the peoples to do the production. The other way around is you can use machinery, which means capital intensive technique. And by if you are doing production by the use of peoples, then it is called as labor intensive technique. So what we should do? How to produce? By machinery or by people? That is the question. So the first point says labor intensive technique. Under this technique, labor is used more than capital. So we will be using more labor and less, it will be less than the capital. Capital means investment, less machinery and more people. Capital intensive technique, under this technique, capital used more than labor. So here in capital intensive, we'll be having more machinery and less labor. So an economy must decide as to what technique it has to use in a given industry so that efficient production is obtained. Efficient technique of a production is that which uses the least amount of scarce resources to provide the same amount of output. This is very important that we want same amount of output. In other words, the production would be undertaken as minimum cost. So definitely machinery in a country where human resources are not too many, like in USA or any country where the number of population is very less, so they should move on with capital intensive technique because they can maximize their goods and services only by installing machinery in their companies. And on the other hand, like country like India, we can use people because in India the population is a lot of people are there in India. So you can use labor intensive technique in a country like India. And in India we are actually employ a lot of people, we employ lot of people, and there are less machinery. So we are basically focusing on labor intensive technique so that we can generate a lot of employment. Now the third question is for whom to produce. Now here for whom to produce, there are two categories, rich people and poor people, for whom we should produce. Owing to the limited resources, an economy cannot produce for all the sections of the society to the extent desired. Broadly, every economy has two sections, the rich and the poor. The social justice is promoted if goods are produced for the poor. So here when the social justice will be done, when the goods will be produced for the poor. Suppose in India we are making lot of cars for rich people, so it is not going to add anything for the poor people because poor people will not be in condition to buy it. So it will not be a welfare for them. So what we should do in a country like India where poverty is very high, we should be producing goods for poor. That will be much better. It would reduce the inequality and promote equality. But there is a hidden cost for doing everything. By producing goods for the poor, the profit of the producer would remain low. Okay, so now if you are going to produce for the poor, the profit of the producer, because you are making goods for the poor of cheaper prices, so you are not going to earn a lot of money by producing goods for the poor. And if you are producing goods for the richer section like cars like Lamborghini, and also easily you can make out lot of money because rich people are going to buy purchase such kind of thing like air conditioner and all. Now low profit would means low investment. Now if you are earning low profit, then low investment a company will make, means they are going to buy less number of machinery in future, implying low GDP growth. The economy would remain backward for a long term of time. So economy will be going backward, they will not, because GDP will fall. Thus there is a problem of choice, social equality or GDP growth. So we'll have to decide here what do you want. We want social equality or we want the growth of the country. So according to that we are going to produce the goods. either for the rich or for the poor. Now, solutions to the central problems. Market economy. So, market economy is a free economy. It means the producers are free to decide what, how, and for whom to produce. On the basis of do they take the decisions? Yes, it is on the basis of the supply and demand forces in the market. So, what is market economy or free economy? In which there is no restriction there from the side of the government, and the producer are free to decide what to make, how to make, and for whom to produce. Like they can decide they what to make. Maybe they will decide for making luxurious car. How? By using capital intensive technique. For whom? So definitely for the rich section, because then only they will be earning more money. So this they can decide, because as there's very less interference or no interference from the side of the government, so they can do it. So that is called as market economy or free economy. So producer will choose to produce those goods the prices of which are relatively high. So definitely they will be making something of very high price, because only rich, they are targeting the rich customers, because they are interested in maximizing their revenue. Revenue means profit. They will adopt the technique of the production to prefer the use of those inputs the prices of which are relatively low. Now technique of production, they will definitely choose, like if machinery is producing a lot of good, then definitely the cost of production will come down. So they will be going for capital intensive technique in order to make more profit. Because they are interested in minimizing the cost of production, they will produce goods and services for those buyers who are willing to offer them maximum possible price, because they are interested in maximizing their profit. So they will be, what they will be using in case of technique, definitely in market economy they will be using capital intensive techniques, so their cost of production will come down. Because why they are doing it? Because they just want one thing, they want to make profits. So this is what is the solution under market economy or free economy. Second will be centrally planned. Now what is centrally planned? That economy which is under the control, complete control of the government. So in the centrally planned economy, decision relating to what, how, and for whom to produce are taken by the same central authority, means government appointed by the government of the country. All decisions are taken with the view for maximizing social welfare. So all the decision will be taken by the government, definitely it will be for the social welfare. So like, suppose a country is there where there is centrally planned economy, or socialistic economy is the other name for it, then in that case they will think about the social welfare. If there is need for making goods for the poor people, they will do it. It doesn't matter if the companies are earning a lot of revenue or profit or not. Now, unlike market economy, profit maximization is not the consideration. So in market economy, what was the condition? Earning profit. But here it is not like that. They don't want to earn lot of profit, they just want welfare. Those goods and services will be produced which the central authority of the government find as the most useful for the society. That technique of production will be adopted which is socially most useful. In a situation of mass employment, suppose a lot of unemployment is there, so still the government will think about the welfare of the people, and what they are going to do, they will tell the companies that you will have to use labor intensive techniques, so lot and lot of people will get employment or job. For example, labor intensive technology will be preferred, as I told, rather than the capital intensive technique. So that the unemployment is reduced, goods will be produced preferably for those residents who are suffering from hunger or starvation, which implies loss in production. So the goods which will be produced in such a case will be for the hunger, those people who are hungry and starving because of they are not getting food. So the goods will be made for such kind of people. So here you can say that complete welfare is there. If such a kind of economy is there, centrally planned, so people welfare will be priority. In market economy, what was the condition? It was just like earning profit by the producers. So these are the kinds of economies different: market economy, centrally planned economy, and the solution that what to produce, how to produce, for whom to produce. We are discussing this in this particular type of economy. In India, what is the condition? India is a mixed economy. Okay, the mixed economy combines the both market economy and centrally planned economy. It's a mixture of both the things. So mixed economy combines the merits and avoids the demerits of market. And centrally planned economies, decisions regarding what, how, and whom to produce are taken on the basis of market forces, on the basis of social consideration. So, on the basis of market forces means what? On the basis of market forces means the forces of demand and supply. According to it, we are going to decide that what to produce and how to produce, for whom to produce. Okay. Now, in the certain areas of production, producers are free to take these decisions with a view to maximizing profit. So in some areas, the production, where the production is happening, the companies, means the producer, are free to take that decision. So here one character of free economic you can see, or market economy, that you can the government says that you can produce whatever you want to produce. In other certain other areas, decisions are entirely on the basis of social consideration. Example, in India, producers are free to produce cloth or steel to maximize their profit. Already in India, it is happening. Steel, cloth, and many goods are being produced, and they all the companies are earning good profit. But railways are the monopoly of the government. Now you know railway is owned by the government. It is the monopoly of the government. Means only government has the right to use this railway services because it belongs to the government. No Ambani can run his trains in India because government is not allowing. Now the government provide these services at nominal rate, so the poor people can afford to buy them. So if you want to travel to some distant places, definitely you prefer railways. Why? Because it is the cheapest source to travel. So here you can say welfare is also there. So they're taking care of welfare. So it is the characteristic of socialistic economy or centrally planned economy. Which one? This one, centrally planned or socialistic economies. Here the control is of the government. So India is a mixed economy where you can see both the aspects of market economy and centrally planned economy, and the demerits has been removed. So in India, the producers are free to produce, but slight restrictions or interference will be there for the by the government in order to keep everything on track. Like there will be welfare also, and at the same time it is like the company can also earn their money or make revenues and profit. So these are the problems which are discussed, and the types of economies and the solution in the different economies. So solution part we have done here, and before that we did the central problems. What are the central problems? What to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce. Before that we learnt about what causes economic problems. So economic wants, because unlimited wants are there. Limited scarce means are there because the resources are limited, and the resources are also having alternative uses. So if a question comes, why do problem of choice arise, so we can write that because there is the limited resources are there, and the second point will be that these resources are having alternative uses. These 2 points you can write. So that's all. We'll be making a new video on topic, our next topic, like opportunity cost and marginal opportunity cost, because this part has been removed, PPC. So we'll be focusing on opportunity cost. So till then, thank you, and just go through it.